Okay. Okay. Hey.
Hi.
Hey, Barbara.
How are we all doing this evening? Well, it is evening right now, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's just doing well. How are you?
Good, good. I'm so happy we finally got you to get interviewed. And I'm going to let Miss Luana do the honors before we get into just some good information regarding our guest.
Awesome.
Yes. So we have Yaminah Childress from Atlanta, Georgia. And thank you so much for taking time to be on our show, the Celebrate You Live.
Thanks for
This
having
is
me.
you're welcome. This is our Saturday Spotlight. And for those of you who are new to this new feature in our Celebrate You Women Embracing Wellness group, this is designed to showcase, spotlight, elevate women who are on the move making a difference in their respective lanes. And we're just so excited that Yaminah has decided to join us. And we're going to learn a little bit more about what she's doing, uh, both in her profession, but also the move that she's making with women, and just an impact not only in the U.S., but we believe it's rippling throughout the world. So thank you so much for joining us, Yaminah. And I first want to ask you, I love your name. What is the meaning of your name?
Um, it's actually right and proper. It's Swahili, but I meet a lot of people from like Indian areas.
Mm-hmm.
And they say that this name is very common there too, but it does mean the same thing, right and proper.
Ah, love it,
That's
love it.
good. Pretty.
Thank you.
And I think it's interesting because your name means right and proper, but you're also an attorney, correct?
Yes.
So it sort of lines up with law and order. That's great. So why don't you tell us a little bit about you, and how you actually got into the legal profession, and then from there, about your business, and how from that point you springboarded into this I want to call yours a movement as well, and what you're doing with these different conferences, and then we'll go into a little bit more detail on the upcoming conference that you have.
Okay, awesome. So I'm gonna just tell y'all I hate talking about myself, so just bear with me. um, I'm a mom, so I'm a mom of four, so that's my first job. Um, I got into the legal field actually because I always wanted to be a lawyer. So I'm one of those people when I have like this goal, I plan to set it. And this was like the childhood, like, oh, what do you want to do when you grow up? I want to be a lawyer and I want to be a boss. I remember myself saying that when I was little. So a lawyer and a boss, however that went. Um, and so after kind of just like going through life, like I had my daughter young, I was 19 and kind of left school and got back into school. Um, Went to school for business, and then just kind of one day I'm like, you know what, I think it's time to go to law school. And I asked my one of my best friends, I said, you want to go to law school with me? And she's like, sure. So we took the LSAT together. And one she ended up starting law school before I did. And then I ended up finishing before she did, which was so weird. So that's how I got into it. I don't actually practice in a sense like most lawyers. I don't go to court anything. I really actually do alternative dispute resolution. And so I mediate cases, I arbitrate cases, and I negotiate like contracts and stuff for other businesses because it aligns more with my passion of entrepreneurship and business and things like that. And so my business is called the Childress Group LLC, and it is a conflict resolution firm. And so I mediate civil and domestic cases, negotiate contracts and workplace like separation agreements and severance packages and things like that for individuals and small businesses. And then the arbitration is financial, so most people in my regular world wouldn't ever see me arbitrate a case. I normally arbitrate with FINRA, and so those are like financial securities cases that I arbitrate with them. And so, yeah, I just mediate in the 6th Judicial District around Henry, Fayette, Clayton, Spalding, that area, private and in court. So that's that.
So
And
let me ask you this. So for a, let's say a small business that has maybe 2 to 3 employees, how could they benefit from your services?
well, with the conflict resolution, we all deal with conflict, of course. Not everyone does it effectively. So it doesn't matter how large or small an organization is, even just learning to effectively deal with workplace conflicts, because it will happen at some point. So you don't have to have like a full, some people have like a full program within their organizations that's, they have mediators and conflict resolution. But I always tell small businesses to at least go through a training, whereas you can learn to talk to each other and not at each other, know when to come to each other with issues and solutions, and always have a neutral party. And so when you're talking through your conflict, always have someone who is outside of it all. And so, like I say, it doesn't matter if it's 2 people or 2,000 people, conflict happens, and just knowing how to deal with it, and make it a win-win situation is what we try to do, that everybody benefits. And so I think at least just having some kind of training for the people you work with is a great opportunity to kind of advance on those conflict skills.
Do you find that it's definitely beneficial for the small business that deals a lot with your 1099? So rather than bringing employees in, they're dealing more with your consultants or contractors to provide that service that they need?
Yes. Yeah. If you are bringing in someone, it's normally when people are small, they don't have the capacity to have an entire staff doing conflict resolution. And so, either having someone that you can bring in like a contract, or just going to an outside, mediator, neutral party, and having them come in and kind of help you with that.
Okay.
Wow.
Great.
Yeah.
Wow. Your brains and beauty, right? But that's, it's something we don't think about, but you definitely need someone, because having the right arbitrator can actually save you money. Rather than you trying to do it yourself, Barbara, that's kind of like you in the insurance realm. If you have the right expert at the table, it definitely helps to protect you and your interest.
I love what you do, Yaminah. I mean, because communication is the key. And a lot of times people do not know how to communicate right at times.
And you would imagine, especially when everybody wants to be right. In those cases, nobody is trying to hear the other person. So to have somebody there to kind of let's put the brakes on it. We're going to make this, something that everybody can walk away with and feel good about. But a lot of people, when they are high emotions, high conflict times, they are not communicating. They're just talking and yelling and not hearing anything. So it gets interesting.
So you're like the empire. You're like the middle person. You got to be like, okay, time out.
Yes.
Yeah.
You go in that corner, I go in this corner. We just think about it.
And we do that a lot as mediators. We'll have, let's talk to this party alone first and kind of let the situations cool down, see what it is they're really trying to say without the back and forth. And it is pretty effective that way at times. So.
Yeah. Well, it keeps excitement going sometimes.
It's definitely interesting, especially in, of course, domestic situations when it's family members or people like divorced.
Those could be even worse. The family member could be even a little bit more than just the people that just, know each other's friends.
Yes. Yep.
So, yeah. So you're doing an awesome job.
Thank you.
Well, Luan, did you have any?
So I know I kind of interrupted Yaminah. She was telling her story. So now that you helped educate us a little bit more on what you do in the world of conflict resolution and mediation, how then did that translate to where you are with your outreach to women and the upcoming conference, which is your breakdown and boss up?
So I want to say that was It happened first. And so when I was younger, I really didn't have a lot of support system. It was kind of me just navigating life as a young mom and just a single person, and always, just wanting to be that person that other people didn't have, especially younger women. And so, I started a mentoring program where I mentor young people. And that's really how it started, before even the events, was to kind of just make these connections with younger women to kind of be their support system. And then I heard the weirdest thing. So who's ever listening, this is just something I heard. They say that Black women, didn't support one another. So like it wouldn't work because, everybody's for themselves. They're not supporting, they're haters, all of these different things. And I'm just like, come on, that is not true. So the first conference outside of the mentoring came on as me proving a point that we did support each other. And so, I just put this call up, I put it on, I think started with my LinkedIn, and I said, you know what, I'm going to do this women's conference, and I'm looking for speakers. I'm looking for people to want to be a part of it. And I had an outpour of, attorneys and doctors and CEOs and everything. It's like, sure, I want to. Ooh. And surprisingly enough, they were African-American women. And I didn't specify that. It was just, that's how it turned out. So it was kind of like point proven at that very moment. And over time, once we had the conference the first time, everybody kind of left with, just this feeling of like sisterhood. We were like strangers when we walked in the building, but when we left, everybody was hugs and, exchanging phone numbers and contact information. And so I was just like, man, I want to do this again. And then it was my birthday weekend. So it was kind of like a great start to my birthday. And I'm just like, yes, I'm going to do this. And so it kind of has just spilled over year after year. And it's always a celebration. So I look forward to it. Like the planning process is like long and tedious, but the day of, it's always like fun. It's different in every year, every city is going to be different energy because it's different people bringing their true selves. And that's what I'm always looking for, just people to bring who they are to the conference. And so the experience is always different, but always like an awesome time.
That's so awesome.
Great.
That's awesome. I love it. I love it.
It's great.
For the young generation. And the old generation like myself. But really for the young.
You're classifying yourself as old?
Older. Exactly.
Older. But anyway.
Older than a 25-year-old. That's all.
Yeah, there we go. See, you already know.
Exactly.
But well, I don't want to. I'm sorry, I cut in, but I didn't want to cut into your question. But
no, you're good. It's on you. I'm passing you the ball.
You passed me the ball. So, Yaminah, first of all, I want to say this, and I know our time, but I love your hair. I love you. You just look so radiant. I just want to say that.
Thank you. Somebody told me it was ghetto, but you know what? That's a whole nother story.
Well,
you're doing you. You're doing you.
This is who I am. So I just joke and play, and
I just wanted to commend you on that.
Thank you.
So now that because we were talking about the excitement about your conference, you can just see yourself glow when you talk about it, because I love seeing that. Now we ourselves, myself and Lawan and a few other ladies, we just got done in June with the Celebrate You retreat.
Oh, nice.
And we started the whole group, and you're part of that group, which is awesome. So what made you kind of like, come to that community, and, what's your thoughts of the overall message that we're trying to get out to the ladies about Celebrating You?
First of all, thank you, Luana, for inviting me into the group. When I connect with other women, I'm always just trying to, first of all, support what they're doing. And so when somebody invites me into their space, it's always kind of just a privilege to be there. And since I've been in the group, it's nothing but like positivity is what I love. I think a lot of us as women just don't take that time to kind of celebrate us. I know me, I've always been the person to just keep moving and not even live in the moment of anything that I'm doing. So, but I'm always for the other people. And so I love that this group is just kind of pointing out people, celebrating people, and letting people know how important it is, you know, the wellness of it all, and not just, you know, the do. It is for overall wellness as well. So I think I'm really liking the group so far.
Yay! I'd love to hear that. We love to hear it. Because, you know, we should celebrate. I always tell all the ladies, we should celebrate ourselves every single day of our lives. Just us being women and what we do. And, you know, so many people that we touch that we don't even realize who we're touching. Like right now, you're touching so many women just by being, you know, doing Atlanta with your conference, and now you're coming to Chicago. I mean, that's awesome. So we're here just rooting you on as cheerleaders in our group, just saying that we're proud of you and we're celebrating with you as well. So now I know you talked a little bit about your conference, and I don't want to overlap that. But the one thing I wanted to ask is, what type of women, you know, would benefit from attending your conference?
So every time I get that question, I tell everyone this conference is for all women, believe it or not. Young, older. It doesn't matter. That
we're really careful with that.
Exactly. Or just older women, because I think everybody gets something out of it, because we don't try to just talk about like one specific topic or, you know, gear it towards one audience. We're talking about, you know, just overall health or empowerment or business or relationships. The topics just change and go on every year. I think the audience so far has been from about 18 to probably about close to 60. And I always get still positive feedback from everybody from different ages. So I always encourage people to, no matter where they are in, you know, their professional lives, their personal lives, if they feel like, you know, I've made it, or the people who are feeling like I need some support, I think they'll benefit from attending the conference, because just like I said, the sisterhood in itself, and the connections people make. I've met lifelong friends so far. They were strangers at the conference, and I talk to them all the time. And so, and some are older than me, some are younger. And so I just think this really is a conference that anybody can feel comfortable attending and, you know, actually leave with something, I hope.
It's funny you said that about leave with something, because that was going to bring right into my next question. I mean, we're psychic here. We're reading. Yep. So what I was going to say is, because I know when I'm in a conference or if I'm building a conference, I always have like a key, like a one takeaway or two that I would like to have, you know, the attendants or the women to have. So what is kind of like your one takeaway that you really want the people, you know, the women to come to your event to have, besides networking and getting along?
Yep. And I was going to say, I think it really is, though, more of the connection with someone. So even if it's a professional connection or a personal connection, I really do want it to be a connection. I don't want it to just be a place that you come today and tomorrow you don't talk to anybody, you don't remember anyone, you don't know anything. I like to see people, you know, take those relationships and move forward, and something that's kind of mutually beneficial. And so I think not just the networking in itself, but just the overall connection that you leave with. You know, like I said, whether it's a personal connection or a professional connection, I think that's what I'm looking for.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love that too, because even, you know, I met Luana through a conference and through Under Women's Prosperity, and we didn't think, I mean, we just kind of said hello. We sat next to each other, and now we're doing Celebrate You and a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
Would have never thought that, you know, that wouldn't have happened without coming together as women and really, you know, just be, you know, building those relationships. Mm-hmm. So you're doing a good, you know, you're doing a lot that's going to be awesome for a lot of women.
Thank you.
Yeah, so Luana, I'm throwing it back to you.
Throwing it back to me.
Throwing the ball.
So what I want to ask, I'd like to focus on the name of your conference for a moment. So I understand, you know, when we're saying boss up, when we hear terminology like that around women, and women initiatives, but you're using the term on the front end, breakdown. So tell me exactly what that message is, and what do you hope will resonate to those attendees?
So breakdown and boss up. So when I say breakdown, I mean procrastination, fear,
Okay.
just anything that's holding women back. So we are all in different stages in our lives. And so you may be stagnant because you're scared to go back to school or change careers. If you're like me, you're a super procrastinator. And so it's things that need to be done, but you need to just kind of let that go and just get moving. The breakdown portion is really just kind of letting go of whatever that is. So if it's something that personally is holding you back from your next level of growth, we want to break that down and then boss up in it. And so then you let it go. And now it's time to get those skills, meet those people, take action in order to take yourself to the next level. But it's individual to all of us. And so when people come in, I want them to understand that when we say breakdown, it's whatever it is. We all have something that we could do better at. So letting that go and just kind of taking action to move forward is the concept, I should say.
Great. So, and I love that you deal with, multi-generations, like you said, from the 18-year-olds to people in their 60s. So you're looking at from your boomers to your Gen Zs, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's pretty phenomenal. And when you think about that in a retreat, and I commend you for doing that, or a conference, is being able to blend those different perspectives in an overarching message that resonates with each of these groups, because each of these women come from different sets of experiences and backgrounds, and that's why we're all in these respective buckets, and they're going to process things very differently.
Right.
Yet it sounds like you create this very unique environment that causes women to just want to engage. And I think what I'm hearing from you is, no matter what your age is, the young can learn from those who are older, but those that are older can also learn from that exchange from those that are coming behind them.
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
That's awesome. Well, so now I got to go back to
Going back?
I know you said breakdown, but then you say boss up.
Yes.
So that part you receive, because after you break it down and say, okay, your fears, all that, boom, get away. Then you want to hey, well, I always say woman up. I don't know why I say that, but I say that sometimes.
That's what it is, though. You're taking those steps because, we all can talk about the things that we want to do or the things that we need to do. But realistically, we'll never get there if we don't actually take action. Like, the first thing is to take the first step towards it. And so bossing up is just that, like starting to take the steps. This is your now. This is your opportunity to do whatever it is that you want to do. So now's the time. I mean, what better time than now? So that's where we're going with the bossing up part.
And I know, Barbara, like you said, you use woman up, but I like the boss up because it's more, I think it's, and I'm not saying this, people who are listening, I'm not saying the word woman does not mean power, but when you think of the word boss, and it's the authority, it's an authority, it's taking dominion, it's setting control, it's setting direction. And so I think that for me, that's how that translates, that I am saying in this now moment, I'm taking control, I'm setting the course for my life. As a woman, this is what I'm doing.
So you bossing it up at the women's conference.
Yeah.
Right. So rather than saying, how you tell people you're not the boss of me, it's like, because I'm the boss of me.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. We are the boss of ourselves.
Yes.
No. Well, I know our time. This is wonderful, but I know the time is near. So, Luana, did you want to, I'm getting sad.
Yeah, I know. We definitely will have to bring you back so we can talk more about just how great the conference was. But what I'd like you to tell our listening audience is, how can they get to your conference in Chicago? And if they're in the Atlanta area, how can they get tickets? What do they need to do to get there?
So conference in Chicago is Sunday, July 28th. You can get tickets. It is IamYaminah.com/conference. So there you'll see the Chicago conference tickets, the Atlanta conference tickets, and there are different options. So if they want to join us in Chicago for the one-day event, or they can join us in Atlanta for the weekend event, which is the conference, expo and an award show. And so all of those tickets, IamYaminah.com/conference.
Okay, so let's spell that out for our listening audience.
It's IamYaminah.com/conference. And also you can actually, if you look up Breakdown and Boss Up on Facebook events, you will see it there.
And if they need to email you for perhaps your legal services, how can they get in contact with you?
You can reach me at info@IamYaminah.com. So everything is IamYaminah.com. So throw an info in front of that. It's spelled out for you. And I'm always available on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. All of those are I Am Yaminah. And so if you are looking to contact me in any way, you'll find me.
You heard it. You can get to her every way.
Yes.
Well, Yaminah, thank you so very, very much. On behalf of the Celebrate You community, we truly appreciate you coming on and just being that diamond shining brightly for us this evening. And we definitely want to have you back just so we can hear a little bit more about the conference. And we'd like to know how we might be able to support you going forward.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited, and you all didn't make me like super nervous because I always am when people interview me. So thank you.
Oh, you did wonderful.
It's such a pleasant interview.
Thank you.
And remember, everybody, celebrate.
Bye.
Bye.